Good morning. Welcome everyone to our Ecuador live event talking all about the Galapagos and our Amazon adventure here at Adventures in Good Company. And I am thrilled to be here with you. If you have any questions, like I said earlier, be sure to put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end for you all. So to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about, first, what we're doing right now is a hello and welcome to our live event. We're going to talk a little bit about Ecuador, the Galapagos, and what makes it a special place. We're going to do a highlight section for our Amazon trip in particular, and then we're going to go into our Galapagos by land itinerary. All right, well, let's dive into the nitty-gritty, wonderful place that is Ecuador. So I'll give a brief history, and then we'll go into some more fun facts. Maybe if you want to take some notes, hint for the trivia later. So Ecuador is a hidden treasure in South America. It's a relatively small country, but it has 4 different regions with completely different attractions, cultures, landscapes, and really an incredible amount of diverse flora and fauna. Ecuador has really something for everybody. It has your volcanoes, mountainous landscapes, the fascinating Amazon rainforest, which we'll be talking about, and the sun-filled Ruta del Sol on the Pacific coast. And of course, everyone knows the Galapagos Islands. Even more incredible is how easy it is to travel between each of these regions. Additionally, there's about 25% of the population that is indigenous and continues their daily life practices, rich cultural traditions as their ancestors did centuries ago. The native language in Ecuador is Spanish, and the country's capital is Quito. Ecuador is an amazing destination, really, because you can travel here any time of the year. It's right on the equator, so the weather is beautiful regardless if you're going in the winter, in the summer, any time in between. So Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands offer kind of the perfect blend of history and culture and adventure. So whether you're in the city exploring Quito's colonial streets or hiking in the Andes or snorkeling with turtles in the Galapagos, it really kind of has something for everybody. So we're excited that you all are thrilled about Ecuador and love it just as much as we do already. Moving on, we'll talk a little bit about Ecuador itself and some facts for you all. So the population is 18.5 million people, which is no small feat. The capital is Quito, like I've mentioned a few times, and the currency is the US dollar, which makes it very easy for us based in the US to travel there. Here are a few fun facts for you. So Ecuador is one of the few countries in the world named after a geographic feature. I'm sure you all can guess. It's named after the equator, which runs right through the country. And you can even visit the Mitad del Mundo, which means the middle of the world monument just outside of Quito. And also, despite its remote location, the Galapagos is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and boasts endemic species, which means they are found nowhere else by the dozen, from lava lizards to flightless cormorants. It's a really fantastic place. And then due to isolation, many of these animals in the Galapagos have adapted uniquely on different islands, like Darwin's finches, which develop different beak shapes depending on their food sources available to them. And in the geography, so you'll see on your screen right now, we have a few different places. So this is including both of the trips that we're going to be talking about today, both our Amazon and the Galapagos. So you can take a look here. Ecuador is kind of on the west side of South America, and the lodge that we stay in is the upper right-hand map. It's just marked right there, so you can get a sense of where that is in the world. And on the bottom is the Galapagos Islands. So Ecuador is, like I mentioned, divided into 4 main geographic regions. La Costa, which is the coastal lowlands, tropical, warm, wonderful, La Sierra, which is the Andean highlands, mountainous terrain with volcanoes, valleys, and colonial cities. El Oriente, which is the Amazon rainforest, which is the eastern part of the country, full of the lush jungle and biodiverse ecosystems. And finally, the Galapagos Islands, which is a volcanic archipelago located in the Pacific Ocean. The Galapagos specifically are made up of 13 major islands, 6 smaller ones, and over 100 islets and rocks, all formed by volcanic activity. So some islands are even still volcanically active, which is always exciting and means that the landscape is constantly changing. And the Galapagos Marine Reserve is one of the largest marine protected areas in the entire world. So both land and sea environments offer really stunning biodiversity. Now, that's kind of our big overview. Let's do specifics, what everyone is here for. We all want to know, what do we even do while we're here? Why travel with AGC? So I'm going to pass it over to Katie to get into the exciting nitty-gritty details with you all.
Hey, everyone. So just really glad that we have so many people here today. That's amazing. Thank you for your time. And wow, Ecuador, like Mariah has been saying, it's a really diverse country and it's really small. So Ecuador is actually kind of the size of Colorado, if you didn't know that. And it's a nice way to compare. And when you come to Ecuador, so many people don't realize just how much you can see and do in a short time, which is why we decided it would be best to also offer the Amazon combined with the Galapagos. So just a general overview, of this itinerary. When you're coming into Ecuador, it's, we have very, very many people who are just so warm and welcoming. And, the Ecuadorian vibe is just that. It's friendly, it's homey. We're all happy that you're here. And local Ecuadorians are amazing. Their hospitality is extremely wonderful. Is like you feel like you're at home when you're here. So when you come into Ecuador and spend the first night in Quito, you'll be meeting your guides, you'll be meeting everybody and just getting settled in. And then the next day is when the adventure begins. The nice thing from Quito to the Amazon is just a couple hours drive. It's not far at all, but you're going to be passing through these landscapes that are just incredible. So essentially, you're in the Sierra, the highlands of Quito, going down into the Amazon basin. You're not going to be in the lower Amazon basin. It's going to be kind of in the middle and the upper. And when we do that, we arrive to a small community after passing through the Andes and seeing mountains in the distance that are snow covered and coming down into this more forested area. We'll come to a community where we will begin a briefing for paddling and kayaking on a really easy, gentle river. So it's very adventurous, but I promise you that even for beginners who have never kayaked before, you can do this. Our guides are excellent instructors. There will be options for paddle boards for those who feel more comfortable either standing or sitting on a paddle board, or we have kayaks. And these kayaks and paddle boards are inflatable. So they'll be filled up at that moment. And just in case a little bit of air comes out, we have the air compressor that we take with us along the way. Now, this river is not with rapids, it's not dangerous, it's actually really slow going. So you can just sit in your kayak or on your paddleboard and just watching this incredible environment pass you by, because when in the world are you ever going to be able to kayak or paddle down a river that's part of the Amazon system? You get to see birds and see communities. They might be, doing their daily life things like washing their clothes on the riverside, or the kids might be off of school and they might even jump in the water with you while we're getting the paddle boards and the kayaks ready and like swim with you and want to even get a quick kayak lesson. So it's really, really nice to be surrounded by this local atmosphere, something that you just otherwise wouldn't be able to experience.
The biggest thing to know about this particular itinerary is that it's a paddle in and paddle out lodge. It is stunning. Emily, if you want to go to the next slide, we can go ahead and show some of the highlights. So this is where you're going to be staying in Quito. You'll start here just in a beautiful hotel. This will look familiar for our Galapagos departure as well. But this paddle in and paddle out lodge is really unique and kind of what sets this experience apart from a lot of other trips that we do. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see this lodge is unlike anything I've ever seen before. So it has a beautiful outdoor pool, great outdoor space, and it's where we're going to be staying. So it is a short trip, but really you can't go wrong, honestly, with just how beautiful all of this is. And they do have kitchens that are full service. So in the next slide as well, you can kind of see what the inside of the rooms look like at the Itamandi Lodge, but they have local paddling excursions right from the lodge, so you can go back out onto the Amazon River to go searching for some of those chase wildlife that you've been trying to see, your monkeys, your sloths, anything that you can dream of in the Amazon will be very accessible from here. So it's kind of different from the Galapagos in that the Amazon is very subtle with the wildlife, at least in my experience and the time that I've spent there. Like, it's a silent and subtle beauty. And the Galapagos, it's loud and it's in your face, and you're going to see your turtles, your sea lions, everything. right there. So it's kind of a great combination being able to do both of these things, because you get to see the full scope of what makes these two parts of the country so magnificent. And you get to stay at a beautiful place while you're doing so. So here's just a couple of photos again. Like on the right, you see that full service kitchen where you'll be able to eat a lot of really delicious local foods and some fresh beverages. And then the next slide right here is just the activities. So there's an opportunity potentially to visit the Yasuni National Park and do a lot of wildlife viewing. So it's a great way to kind of give yourself a slow introduction to Ecuador before heading on to the Galapagos if you choose to do so. Or if you just want a slower, low-key lodge experience, this might be the trip for you. So I believe while we wait for Katie to join us, I'll go into kind of what we rate this. So those of you who—
I'm back, just in case.
Yes, okay,
So
cool.
sorry, everyone. Oh my gosh, so
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. Just feel free to correct or add anything that I was yapping on about if you want to talk more about it. All you.
Yeah, okay. No, go ahead. I'm not sure where you left off. I just logged in as you're about to talk about the activity level. So go right ahead. I don't want to go back and forth.
Yeah, it was just so Katie and I worked really closely to create this itinerary, and I know we talked about this is more of the slow, subtle beauty of this ecosystem. And so if you want both the Galapagos, and this is a nice balance in both side of things. So yes, our activity levels, we do rate all of our trips level 1 to 5. 1 being your very slow travel, lower impact from a physical standpoint. A lot of our wellness trips are rated level 1, all the way up to a level 5, which is your W treks in Patagonia, your high altitude Peru treks, something that's high mileage, high altitude, high effort. So this itinerary is rated a level 2. So there is going to be some paddling, like we mentioned, some hiking, nothing too intense comparative to some of our other higher rated trips, but they include a little bit of moderate physical activity and some cultural and enrichment activities in addition to those. So maybe activity for this entire itinerary is 2 to 5 hours most days. And then it just includes like walking, hiking, paddling, maximum 4 to 6 miles per day. And again, it's kind of a choose your own adventure. If at any point you're on the trail and you're like, I cannot do this anymore, your AGC guide is there to support you, and your local guide is there to support you as well. So this is one of our lower level trips. It's kind of a more slow travel, focus on culture, enrichment, and relaxation. So with that said, this slide will look very familiar later on as well, but we will dive into our Galapagos itinerary. Katie, if you want to start talking about those specifics, that would be lovely.
Yeah, awesome. Hopefully my power doesn't go out again. So sorry about that. So again, if you're just arriving for Galapagos, the part of Galapagos, and you weren't here for the Amazon, that's great. Welcome. And we do an overnight and a welcome with everybody and make sure that you're comfortable and settling in. And because Ecuador is so much more than the Amazon or the Galapagos, we thought it would be really important that you get to see a little bit about Quito. Quito is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's one of the best preserved historical centers in all of South America, and it's just beautiful. And it would be so sad for you to miss it. So we've included this city tour with our guides and a visit to the middle of the world. And the specific visit to the middle of the world is not a typical, oh, here's your monument. You actually get to go into this museum that's interactive and see why the equator is so important to the northern and southern hemispheres with some really cool experiments. And then, for the rest of the day, we're just enjoying the local culture and the history and where you are. And the next day we get ready to fly to Galapagos. So the Galapagos Islands are actually 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador. So they're actually pretty far off the coast in the middle of nowhere, but it is this paradise. Like Mariah has been saying, there's just so many things that make it so special. And when we arrive, it's an early morning, getting to the airport. We help you with everything. Your check-ins. There's a couple things that you have to do before you go to the Galapagos, like checking your bags one more time to make sure that there's no invasive species. It's a national park, so we do have to make sure that we're always protecting it in any way that we can. And then when you arrive, coming to your hotel, settling in. And for the afternoon, because San Cristobal is actually one of the smaller populated islands, we have a really nice activity in the afternoon with some of the locals making some ceviche. So if you're a vegetarian or if you don't like fish, that's fine. We will accommodate you. And it's really nice because there's many beaches and places to see right there in the town. It's not big at all, so you can go out, go see the sunset, go visit the beaches, and there are sea lions everywhere. So you don't have to worry about not seeing them because they basically own the place. And then, well, we continue on day 4 to one of our big, most exciting visits during this itinerary. Kicker Rock is a beautiful destination off the coast of San Cristobal. It's these 2 pillars coming out of the water, what seems like out of nowhere, but it's actually part of an island that's been eroded over millions of years. And it is in the middle of the ocean, but you know, we have this 45-minute navigation on a beautiful boat, and it's just you and your group and your guides. And when you get into the water, underwater is where the magic is, really, in Galapagos. And you might see hammerhead sharks, you might see manta rays, sea lions fishing, you might see blue boobies diving for fish. It's really, you know, this magical place where you just never know what you're going to see or what could happen. So you just have to be open to it, and it's beautiful. And that's one of our highlights of the trip, is this Kicker Rock visit. And then you come back in the afternoon around 3 or 4, and you have the rest of the afternoon or evening to spend as you wish. The next day, because this is an island hopping itinerary, it's not on a cruise. You're starting in San Cristobal and then heading over to Santa Cruz. And this is done by speedboat. So the speedboat is about 2 hours in between, because on a map, the Galapagos Islands look like they're actually really close together, but they're not. So it's about 2 hours on the speedboat to arrive to Puerto Ayora. And because the speedboat is exactly what it sounds like, we give you the rest of the day to enjoy Puerto Ayora. There's lots of souvenir shops. There's lots of places to shop and visit, restaurants and cafes. And there are some places that you can visit on your own as well. So this day is just kind of a day to relax in between all the activities. And the following day, we have another navigable day tour, which means that we're going to an uninhabited island. And this island is going to be Bartolomé. It's just off the coast of Santiago Island. And if you look behind Mariah, this is actually where you're going to be visiting. It's one of the most photographed, most desired places to visit in the Galapagos, just because of the contrast of the islands and the turquoise waters. And it's a place where you might be able to see Galapagos penguins, which is definitely a highlight on the western side. We won't be necessarily visiting all the way on the west. So Bartolomé is a beautiful activity. When we do this tour, it's a combination of a hike on land to get this beautiful view that you can see behind Mariah. And then it's also an activity for snorkeling and swimming. So it's a really nice combination. And again, you're back around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And then continuing on to our 3rd island, where you're going to be staying overnight, is the island of Isabela. So this is one of the westernmost islands. It's one of the youngest islands in the Galapagos. It is still volcanically active because there's a volcano there called Sierra Negra that is popular to hike to, but it's also very hot, very dry, and we want you to be able to see the actual best place to snorkel, which is Los Túneles. And this place of Los Túneles, I swear, it is the absolute most magical experience you'll have snorkeling in your life. Giant sea turtles, penguins, seahorses, and who knows what else. It's not deep, it's shallow, so it's a nice place to really enjoy and see everything. And what else? Let's see. Isabela, and then we're going to be coming back at the end to connect to your flight back to Quito. And it's really important here to know that it is possible to connect your US or Canadian flights in the evening. Most flights from Ecuador will come back to Quito around 3 or 4 p.m. So it's important to give yourself enough time and space in between that to book your international departure. But during this itinerary, you're always going to be with your guides, your tour leaders. They're there to answer any questions while you're traveling. You know, it's a beautiful place with lots of wildlife, and it's super important to respect the wildlife because it is a national park. So you're always going to hear the 2-meter distance to respect the animals, keeping your distance. Even though they want to come to you, keep your space. But yeah, it's just a really exciting bucket list destination that everybody should be able to visit once in their life. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, so these are some of the accommodations that we've chosen for you. Some of them have a pool. All the rooms, all the places that we work with specifically are either family owned or boutique. We always look to support the local communities. So these hotels are very friendly and homey, making you feel at home. And they're large and comfortable, as you can see here, and the nice pools to enjoy at the end of the day. A lot of them are going to have the best locations as well. We definitely strive for near the beach places or places that have a really awesome view. A lot of the hotels in Galápagos, which is important to meet your expectations, is that they're small. They're not these huge chain hotels. They're all going to be small and family owned. So not all the rooms are going to be the same either. All of them are going to be comfortable. All of them are going to be clean, hot water. You're going to have everything that you need there, including Wi-Fi. However, keep in mind, you're in the Galápagos, 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador. So even though we do have Starlink now and more connectivity, it could be a little bit slower than what you're used to. And here are some other accommodations. I believe this is San Cristobal. So again, the rooms are nice and large, plenty of room to leave your things, and we have another pool available. So yeah, you guys are going to be well taken care of during these trips. More accommodations. I believe this will be in Isabela. And the activities, well, the activities speak for themselves. Like I said, there's going to be snorkeling, swimming, places where you're going to see lots of wildlife in the water. And this is an example of the snorkeling. You just never know what you're going to see, and it's always a surprise. I've been lucky enough to go a few times myself to Galápagos, and I've never seen, every single time I've been surprised, and I've never been anywhere that I could say that. Yeah, and the beaches here are beautiful. The sunsets are beautiful. This, for example, is a beach on Isabela Island that you can walk to from your hotel. So anytime you have free time or after the activities of the day, you are totally free to go exploring on your own. There's plenty of places to do that, and we'll give you those additional details if you're interested.
All right. Thank you, Katie. Like I said earlier, this is a very familiar slide. So very similarly to the Amazon option, this is also a rated level 2. So your expectations will be about the same for physical exertion level and expectations for this one. So if you have any additional questions, we do have a full side of our website that is dedicated to this. And we have a fitness guide as well. So if you're curious, you can always reach out and we're happy to provide that to you.